Today we welcome Mr. Rupak Shah to our show. Rupak Shah is an entrepreneur and he started his company in 2018 known as LearnOr. LearnOr have been in top 50 social impact startup in 2018. Mr. Rupak loves to read books. He read around 300 books in 2016 itself. So it's a great pleasure to welcome Mr. Rupak Shah to our Amazing Mentor series. Welcome Mr. Rupak.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for this wonderful opportunity. And I really like the work what you guys are doing and getting the insights from real life people who are being through it and sharing it with others. So it's a wonderful opportunity.
So what was your vision when you started LearnOr?
So I will try to go a little bit backstory from where the learner came into the picture. So as a qualification, I completed aircraft maintenance engineering, and like a lot of people now wonder if he did that, why is he in this? Okay, I was not a dropout. Okay, I was into top 5 of my batch, so you can say I completed the course. So as a part of that course, we had to work compulsory 6 months in any of the airlines, and I was blessed enough to work in Air India. There are a lot of different planes and you get a lot of learnings, but somewhere I realized, okay, this is not for me. I cannot do it for next 30 or 40 years of my life. That is the time when the question or the reflection started happening. And as they say in India, you actually realize what you want to do in life after you complete engineering. So that is where I started reflecting. I used to read self-help motivation book a lot, and luckily I came across a lot of people who are trainers, coaches, and I somewhere like that feel of talking, of making an impact, doing workshops, and I started helping them. Over the period of time, I started developing those skill set, and I used to read a lot. Come on, I was an engineer. We read 6 months syllabus in a day before. So reading was never a challenge, but my speed was a little bit slow. So that is why I learned speed reading techniques online, and I started applying it to myself. And I could finish 3 to 4 books per week. And that is a time when a lot of people started approaching you. Why don't you train us? Why don't you teach us? And very informally, my training journey started with a concept known as velocity reading. And of course, with that, I did listening skills, how to create habits. Now, as I was doing this workshop, I love doing live open events rather than waiting for the corporate when the date will come. The HR will say, do this, do that. I also love that because that pays well. But in the open event, I get to decide, okay, what things I want, how many people I want, what date they should be coming in. And I was doing that a lot. I was doing 5 to 6 open events a month. And that was the time when a lot of people saying, hey, we do not live in Mumbai. Uh, is there a possibility of we attending that event? Can you create an online course? And that time I just said, okay, I will do online course of my velocity reading. But I had a very small hack out there because it required the shooting expenses, it would require the uploading expenses, even getting the website ready. I just told them, okay, if you buy right now, I will give you at just 99 rupees. But if you buy it after a month, I will give it at 1,000 rupees. Okay, just to check how many people will are actually ready to pay for it. And luckily I got over 100 paid responses, and I was like, okay, shoot ka kharcha bhi nikal gaya, and now I know there is a market for it. At least I can do this e-course. And that is how my initial journey with e-learning started. And that is how Learn Or initially came into the picture. The Or stands for more. That's our Hindi wala Or. So that's learn more. And then we did a lot of e-courses, and then we realized, okay, one of the beautiful aspects of learning is when it becomes engaging, when it becomes interactive, when it becomes, you become immersed into it. And that is where we started shifting towards creating a story based learning. So right now what you do, if you see our videos, they are not e-courses. Those are just 8 to 12 minutes videos with one learning. That can be a social message also, that can be life skill message also. And we give you almost like a short film level experience. In fact, few of our videos have been selected into short film festivals also. So that is how this entire journey got tweaked along the way. I wouldn't say it was very pre-decided that I would come into the video production and will do a professional level of shooting to give you the learning. So that is how that journey tweaked and started.
So you started your career and you did a job for a year or so, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So was being an entrepreneur your priority since the beginning when you started your career, or was it a sudden decision in your life?
So being entrepreneur was not a priority in the start of my career also. But I started it because I wanted to go on my own, or rather than going on my own, I wanted to explore the training and coaching field. Luckily, when I started, I did not get any training organization trying to recruit me. Of course, why will they? I come from aircraft maintenance engineering background. So luckily, I never got out there until the time I started getting calls or opportunities for them. I myself had good enough brand. I myself had done enough hard work so that that did not make sense. Of course, right now also I consult companies on how to grow their training business, but there I don't speak. I just consult them from the back end part of it. So that was so once, as they say, entrepreneurship journey is tough for first 3 years, and after that you get used to it. So by the time I started getting job opportunity, I was pretty much used to entrepreneurship space and how to manage it, and it's fun. A lot of people will. So money is of course an thing that will you might get it quickly when you're doing job, but you get to learn a lot in entrepreneurship, and I would not trade this experience because I learned to recruit, I learned to do sales, I learned to do training, of course, speaking, meeting with a lot of people, also firing people, not a good experience, doing mistakes, bad hiring, taking critical feedback. You're working 7 days a week, your friends are working 5 days a week, still they earn more rather than you, your parents' pressure, all those kind of things. But it's a learning experience. Well, if you sit with me today, I can tell you so many stories which I have been through as compared to someone who is doing a particular field job or whatever. So I wouldn't trade experience. Of course, monetary wise, it rewards you with time. So it's not that there is no money in it. There's always money involved in it. So, but the experience is worth it.
So what all are the challenges which you face in your day-to-day life?
So challenges, as I mentioned, I don't know how many of you come from which background, but usually if your parents are not supportive, so the first challenge that always comes is because parents actually don't understand the entrepreneurship, what is all about. It's not that they don't support you. Come on, they supported you for first 22 years with education, with best of best schools and best of best colleges. It's not they don't want to support. The only thing is they don't understand how does the system works. Will he earn or will he lose money? And if you so a mistake what I did, I started it with an attitude of I will prove them wrong that I can become. Personally, nowadays I don't recommend that. I recommend people to sit down with their parents, have a goal set with them, say, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 years. Okay, you help me in this. If it works out, beautiful. If it does not work out, I will go for MBA, which anyways they want to go for masters. And in fact, in MBA, they will give you better preference because 2 years you were on your own. You did. Anyways, if you failed, you did something, and that will be way better experience than doing a 2 years some kind of job. So one is from a family side. I want a good communication to be happening. Second, if you're so hardcore that I want to do my entrepreneurship, and if you don't have money, then try to get into service based what do you say, service based industry where the capital required is less. Like if you're good at creative, say I'm going to start a company where I will create creatives for your social media, or rather than trying to say I will start a factory, which we all know requires a lot of intense capital out here. So you need to identify, okay, what is your challenge. For me, money also was an issue, so service industry made a good sense. And even apart from that, if money, I still had money, I should have gone into it because I only had skill set for it, or even the inclination for it. So that's the second challenge. Next challenge, what I get from a lot of people, or even I faced a lot, is hiring. When you itself, you don't have a money, how will you hire someone to work for free or nominal like 2,000, 5,000, 10,000? So here the important aspect is, once you start your journey, once you give your all in, you need to create a vision. Okay, if your company does not have a vision, it is just about getting 100 from the client and then selling it to someone at $200. If money is only issue, I'm not saying money should be an issue. Uh, if that is not there, how will we survive? But there has to be a bigger vision to it, and that is where you will start attracting people. And I don't know why people have this attitude that if I talk with three, all three should get on board, or they should love my company, or they should love my work. That's not there. Even people quit Google, Facebook, Amazon. They even have the rate where people are leaving. So it's not that everyone. My experience, I know my number. If I get four people interested, I know one will stay with me for long term. You need to identify your number, how it works, why it works. And of course, once you get that 1111, their friends get interested to work with you because they see what kind of cool work you're doing. So that's the next challenge. Apart from that, luckily we are blessed enough right now. There are a lot of people who help startups, or a lot of incubators who are there to help. Go on net, try to find out. Just don't assume that you are all alone. There are a lot of people like you who are starting their journey, who might be 16 or who might be 60. Okay, there are people in all age brackets who are starting an entrepreneurship journey. Next important is fact check, or I would say getting the numbers right. Like I said, 4:1, that works for me. You need to get it for your industry. We get a lot of 22-year-olds saying, okay, if I don't become successful in next 2 years, then it's not worth it. You need to see Mark Zuckerberg, you need to see Ritesh Agarwal, those guys have done it. And that time you need to see the facts. Okay, usually the age of successful startup entrepreneur is 35 plus. Okay, once you get that statistics right, you become very relaxed into it. If you go to your company which you love the most, apart if it's a Facebook or Google, this kind of company give faster, but other companies had struggled a lot. Like Nike, for example, its owners struggled for a lot of years to get to that position. There are so many companies. Even people say Netflix was so easy to start. No, Netflix had its own struggles. So once you get those statistics right, that it's not going to be easy, it's tough. That does not mean problems will go away, but you become very relaxed into it. So one of the best insight what I got in the 2 years before is, if your talented employee leaves, just assume one or two of your other employee will also quit. Okay, that was a good learning what I got at that time. And when last month I fired someone, I was pretty much okay with one or two guys leaving more, and they actually left, but they came back afterwards. But they actually left, and I was pretty chill about it. I was not tensed. I knew back of the mind that this is going to happen, and that actually happened also. But luckily they came back. So these are the things or the challenges. And the last and the most important, I'm also trying to learn it, is being flexible. Okay, so you cannot say that I'm not a sales guy, I'm not an operations guy, I'm not this guy, I'm not that guy or girl, whatever it is. So today if I'm speaking for my company, I become a speaker. I cannot say I'm like shy and I don't want to do it. Tomorrow if I'm talking with team and I want to motivate it, I become a motivator. But if I'm not getting on the target, I become that badass guy and who's like kyun nahi kar rahe, kyun nahi kar rahe, hona chahiye kind of thing. And sometimes with employees feeling low, or whatever, you become coach also. You're like, hey bro, I have been through it. So this kind of things you need to keep on flexible. Do you should be aggressive or should you be slow? It again depends on what the company requires, at what stage it requires, and what is expected out of you. So yeah, these are few challenges. Yeah.
So, apart from the intention should be correct basically to start the company, like you said that the main intention was to prove my parents wrong, which was
Yeah.
a good intention and which was a mistake which you made in the starting while starting
Yeah.
your. Now,
Yeah.
apart from this mistake, what all mistakes have you done till now in your journey?
So one of the major mistake, I won't say mistake, I would say a regret, what I always have is I did not start quite early in my life to work. I'm more of a hands-on person. Like if you show me a 10 minutes how to video, I will pause it at 3 minutes. I will do what is said in 3 minutes, and then I will continue that video and I will do the remaining part of it. So one of the biggest regret what I have, I should have started working at 2021, not for money. Okay, luckily, like people say being middle class is bad. I say being middle class, you don't have to see when your next food is coming. Your parents are good enough to take care of you, at least from food, clothing, and shelter. So I should have started working on that's one of the major regret what I have. Second, what I personally feel I should have started recruiting or getting people on board pretty earlier. I was almost 3 years. I was the sole person trying to do it. That is a second regret, because then you become more of a solopreneur and you become self-employed rather than an entrepreneur, and you don't get to talk about it, you don't get to discuss your ideas, and you don't get a critical feedback on day-to-day basis. So this is a major mistake. Apart from that, I don't think any major blunders what I did. Of course there are a lot of small mistakes what I did, but from a macro perspective I don't see major blunders that happening. Luckily, that it can be a mistake also that I haven't done any major blunders. I don't know. People also say if you're not failing enough, then you're not doing much more things. So that itself can be a blunder. So yeah, these are the few that comes to my mind.
So as you said before that there are many stories which you can share. So share few stories with us.
Okay. So any particular story you have in mind with some intention, or in general any story you would like to?
General.
This is a story of how I have now close to 12,000 people who follow me on WhatsApp. Okay, WhatsApp. So what I wanted as a trainer, I was looking for good stories to share with my audience. Okay, and all I wanted that, and I was finding it very difficult to get all kind of good stories at one place. So what I decided, I will build a doc for me where I will have 100 good stories, and if anyone wants, any trainer wants to access it, any trainer wants it, I will give it away completely for free, because anyways those are not my stories, I will source it from somewhere. So one of my friends suggested, why don't you share with us also if you're collecting it? And that is where I said to, I just broadcasted message in few groups saying every day I'm going to share you one inspiring story that is motivation, or it can teach you, or it can just make you feel better. If you want to receive from it, just ping me and save my number. So that is how I accidentally started. And the day of 99 story, I guess I had close to um, 400, 500 people in my list, two broadcast lists close to it. And that time I was almost, I was like, okay, I promised you 100. It was not 100, it was 101. Yeah, 101 stories in 101 days. So it was 101 stories. I was like, hey guys, time to pack up, and thank you so much for being with the journey. And then a lot of people who said, okay, it does not matter, do you share daily or not? You share whenever you want. We'll be more than happy to receive it. And then I'm continuing that. The average is 2 inspiring stories a week. That is what I'm doing. And right now I have close to 12,000 people on WhatsApp who get it. And I've been blessed enough to have that kind of audience, because anytime I want to do a different thing, I want to try and experiment, I just broadcast saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Do you like it? And luckily these people are getting value from me. So I get a very genuine feedback, but not in a rude way. So that is one of the good stories of how I built following with had no intentions in mind. So that is a story. And like, it's very common for me to get, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 messages if there are festivals or whatever, not groups, I'm talking individual messages. So yeah, this is one of the stories which is still continue, not to the end.
Very nice. So you have so much of followers. You must
Yeah.
think about yourself. So tell us about your childhood and about your hobbies which you enjoy doing.
So hobbies, as every Indian, one of the biggest hobbies playing cricket, which I had. I was a wicketkeeper batsman, lefty wicketkeeper batsman. So I played that to a good amount of it. Apart from that, playing Mario. I don't know how many of you now even recollect that game. So that was big time uh, our time. So yeah, video games and what do you say, playing cricket were the two biggest hobbies. People find it shocking that I read so much right now. I have been reading from my childhood days, but no, I started after 10th, 11th. So those are two big hobbies right now. Even I'm not obsessed with cricket because of the work, but I do make sure that I check the highlights and in between any news stories that is happening. And of course, when there is a big match like an IPL final or the World Cup, of course, I will make sure that I watch it. So these are the two hobbies, and one hobby which I picked up from last 3 or 4 years has trying to stay fit. And luckily this year I'm planning to run half a marathon, self-driven, because there are no marathons happening right now. So I'm going to organize it with few of my friends, and we 4 or 5 are going to do it. My biggest run has been 15 kilometers. So the objective is to reach 21.1 kilometer in this year. So I still have 25 days. So yeah, I'm focusing a big time into not big time, but trying to create a fitness culture. In fact, each of our team member, I push them, and they are luckily doing some kind of exercise 3 or 4 times a week. And I've seen that change happening with the team, with the culture. So initially we used to order food from outside when there was shoot. Now we have dedicated person, एक जन की homemade है, who makes the food for us, and we eat that food. It's tasty, and at the same time it's healthy. So trying to create entirely a culture in the company of staying fit and being healthy.
As I can see, you love reading books, and in 2016, you read around 300 non-fiction books. So where did you get so much of inspiration to read and love about the books?
So one of my biggest skill set, what I would say, is I am a learner. Okay, I might be a slow learner, but I like to love things. I like to get inspired, because a lot of times, and everyone has their own way of it. Gaudo, for you, talking with people like us is a learning experience in itself. So that becomes your learning journey. So it's like me asking you, where do you get motivation to do this kind of work twice a week? You're like, that's natural. For me, I'm more of a listener, and I'm more of a reader. I'm more of an introvert, which people are a little bit shocked to know because of my training background and my speaking skills. People don't realize it. But I like to learn in my own space. And that is why books is one of the best ways to do it. And I like to read stories of people who have been there, done that. It's very egoistical to say like what I'm doing, no one has done. But of course, everyone has been gone through very similar phase of our life, what we have. And when so recently I read the story of Cisco CEO, who was almost CEO for 20 plus years, John Chambers. And I could relate with so many examples what he was giving of the company challenges. And that just made me calmer in a way. I'm like, okay, this challenge has been faced by many people, have overcome it. Take a chill pill, everything will be all right after a month. So it is more of a therapy also, because I'm sure you would agree that a lot of things that happens that just gets you off record, and you're like, why I'm doing it in the first place. चुपचाप job कर लेता था, 50,000 1 lakh salary आता था, chill मारता था. So for me that becomes a calming experience. And these days luckily I'm using more of audiobooks. So that is why I work out and I listen to the book at the same time. So it's a two-way motivation कि ओके मन नहीं कर रहा है वर्कआउट करने का, बट बुक सुनना है, अच्छा जाता है, एंड वंस यू आर इन द फ्लो यू जस्ट कंटिन्यू विद द वर्कआउट, यू डोंट स्टॉप. सो yeah, this is my the what do you say, the desire of learning something new, desire of trying to get a lot of insights so that I can apply it in my organization, and create a better culture throughout. Of course, at the end of the day, it's all about trying to be a better human. Of course, it's not a straight line. It's zigzag based on what your experiences are. So yeah, that's my learning is my desperate need.
So any books which really touched your heart?
Yeah. So there are different books in different genres. I will share few. So on a mental health, there is a book known as Feeling Good by David D. Burns. That just made me more calmer, more better person from an emotional state of mind. It made me question a lot of my negative thoughts. So that is one of the book that I always recommend. David D. Burns, Feeling Good. After that, Philo Languages, when it comes to relationships, Philo language is something that made me realize, okay, every human being has a different way of showing their love and expressing. So many people feel that Philo language is only for partner, but if you understand the basic of it, you can see it everywhere in your friendships, in your day-to-day activities with people also, you get to see it. Then when it comes to entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship, of course, story of Phil Knight, which is the founder of Nike, has touched me to a great extent. So his struggles and all those things, even for that matter, a lot of I won't say Steve Jobs. I connect with a lot with Steve Jobs, but even his story is kind of inspiring. And of course, Zero to One by Peter Thiel is the best book I always recommend on entrepreneurship to anyone. After that, which genre is remaining? Yeah, I guess I covered the gist of it. Of course, then in every aspect, when it comes to sales, when it comes to management, there are different books. So, but overall, these are the books.
So who is your mentor in life?
So I have been blessed enough to get a lot of good mentors, and I would say there is one mentor might be too much to say for it, but I got now close to 5 to 6 mentors whom I touch base with them regularly, and each one has their own um, expertise. At the same time, they all have a good rapport with me, so I get a very genuine feedback whenever I want to. So when the workload is more, when the workload is less, how to manage, how not to do it. So you wouldn't believe that we have shot over 150 videos, and we have never paid anyone for the venue. Okay, wherever we have shot, we don't own a big office space, we have shot. So that's what do you say, of course, for few people whom we are doing regularly, I have pushed and made them my business partner and gave them equity, because I'm like, okay, tomorrow when the company grows, you should not feel bad for it. But apart from that, even so, I'm based in an incubator right now. So even the CEO of the incubator have been mentoring my startup and my company. So I will always suggest, this is one line what I use a lot: rather than spending good amount of time in CCD with your girlfriend, boyfriend, spend a good amount of time with your mentors or people whom you like to be. So many people don't believe it. I also have a statistics for it. If you cold call, okay, or you cold email, or you cold, I would prefer this days LinkedIn messages works beautifully. If you cold LinkedIn messages to 5 people of your industry expert, write a decent message, not a desperate trying to say. Out of 5, ask them, can I get your 30 minutes? I would love to get your insights or get your mentorship only for 30 minutes. Trust me, out of 5, 3 will revert, 1 will say yes. And that one person who says yes, even that person agrees for 30 minutes, but is going to spend up close to 90 to 120 minutes with you. So that is the beauty of it. And today you can just ping your role model is in US. You don't need to fly out there. You just need to ping on LinkedIn, and somewhere from that industry will help you. So I would always prefer ask for help. And I guess there's a quote in Bible, right? Ask and you shall receive. So yeah, knock and it shall open. It's a big version, but I guess ask and you shall receive is the shorter version of it. So yeah, a lot of mentors. I would never say I've been anywhere without them.
So how was the feeling when you got to know that your startup, Learn Or, was in top 50 social impact startup?
So I'm sure you will be pretty shocked to see this or listen to my answer. I get this a lot when social impact startup, or when we hit 25,000 subscribers, or when we cross 6 million views, or we get recommended in a lot of short film festivals. I personally don't feel shocked, don't feel surprised. I feel grateful. Why I don't feel shocked or surprised? Because in my mind, I've actually seen it happening. Okay, I know that is going to happen. It's only time when it happens I feel grateful, because there is a universe who listens to me, or there are people who are actually helping me. So I was not shocked. I knew abhi bhi log bolte are Bombay Stock Exchange is badi baat hai. I'm saying one day my company will be a public limited company where people will be investing in it, and it will be on stock exchange. And I said it's going to happen. Okay, and when it happens I will not be shocked. Okay, I will be okay. I'll be grateful. I'll be grateful a lot. Okay, but I will not be shocked or surprised. I knew this was going to happen. I have seen it so many times happening in my mind. So when it happens, it's just a day-to-day occurrence for me. So it's more of a feeling of gratefulness that the law of, well, then it's so shocking. Well, it's such a big thing that if you decide you want this, people say you can't do it, but the things turn up. You just don't have to quit on it, no matter what happens. So today I tell to my team, our videos will get 10 million views regularly to an impact, 10 million views regularly. And team is feeling shocked. 6 months back, I was telling them we'll get a video which will cross 1 million. Okay, that time 1 million was a big figure for us. And one of our videos, short film named as Unfold, crossed 1 million view. We had a party. Okay, then the same video crossed 2 million view. We just had a social media post. Then we crossed 3 million, the same video. No one even mentioned that we crossed 3 million views. And I was like, idiot, we crossed a big number. So in a way, I'm actually believing that it is going to happen. 10 million views is pretty easy for all of our videos, which we'll get regularly because of the efforts and the upbringing that will happen. And what I love about this kind of goals is not about reaching them, that it actually also changes you as a person. So if I tell I want to get 10 million, 10 million, I'm not going to steer away from the goal. Universe will bring people to you who will help you to reach that. So when I started 10 million, automatically I started meeting with people who are better at their work, who can give me better feedback, who can tell me, okay, this is how you do it, this is how you do not do it. So this is something what I love about it. If I say I want to just be out here, I won't grow. So if I say I want to reach 10 million regular views on my video, I know what kind of big infrastructure, what kind of big support I will need, and it will happen. The only thing is people are so obsessed that it should happen in this particular period of time. Then I would say then it's not your love. You cannot love your daughter saying, okay, if she doesn't love me in 6 months back, I will stop taking care of her. You just don't say it, right? Same goes with your friendship. You don't say it, अगर ये इसने मुझे birthday पे नहीं बुलाया तो मैं इससे बात नहीं करूँगा. No, you accept a lot of people as they are. Then why don't you accept your company as it is? So yeah, just gratefulness.
Any action or decision which you regret in your profession?
Any action on?
Any action or any decision which you regret?
Regret. So regret, I told you the biggest regret what I have is I did not start early in my life, and second is not hiring enough people initially, because I somewhere felt that I won't be able to do it, or why they will join. And today I see a lot of starting entrepreneurs who are starting, and the first advice I give them, get interns. Okay, and they are like, no, I don't have money. I'm telling you, you'll get interns to work for free if you give them a good vision. You give them work experience, you give them good vision, you allow them to do what they want to do. So that is my couple of biggest regrets, and I'm sure there will be many. That is a sign that I will be doing a lot of things, but right now these are the two major ones.
So what do you think, and what would be your advice to young generation? Should they start their career and first do the job and then become an entrepreneur, or should they directly become an entrepreneur?
So this advice is a lot of debated advice, and there are a lot of people from both sides trying to support each other. At the end, personally, I would say what is the comfort level and the industry requirement. Okay, if you want to start a startup in biotech and you don't have experience in bio or tech, okay, I'm a little bit skeptical about how that will go. So if you want to start something which is very specific, like you want to start your consulting company, I would prefer you get at least some kind of experience with that. And so this is a mistake what people do is when I say you need to get experience, they will be like, jaake job karna. I'm saying you can go and you can work 8 hours, but never ever call yourself as an employee. Always call them as a hired resource, or call yourself as a consultant. I'm working with Gaurav. I work 8 hours with him. He pays me X amount. But at the end of the day, subconsciously, I know I'm not an employee of Gaurav. So subconsciously it trains you, okay, tomorrow you want to start a job. And even I feel it's ethical. Even Gaurav knows that Rupak tomorrow wants to start his or her own venture. And this is what people have raised their first round of funding is itself from their old boss or old business connections. Because when your employee or when your boss or when your people around you see you're working so hard when you're just getting a salary, they just get shocked what amount of effort you will put when you're doing your own business. So they will definitely be your first movers. They will be your talking to about, hey, my friend has started this company and all those kind of things. So that's one. Second, if that industry does not require as such any specific experience, like you have to compulsory get certified and all those kind of things, then I would prefer you jump into the entrepreneurship journey and have a regular round of mentors. And the younger you are, the more what do you say, you're more open to learning and you will more listen to right mentors. So in that case, if your industry does not require an expertise, of course, I told you the financial in the beginning. If you do not have any finance, go for service related startup. And if you have good amount of finance, then you can also go for product related startup also. So yeah, those are my advice. It all depends on, first of all, who you are. If you are someone who are not feeling confident about being an entrepreneur without an experience, you will never feel that. You will always feel you're fake even if you become a successful entrepreneur. So go and work for 1 or 2 years. But if you are like always a confident person who it does not matter what people say about you, then you go and start on your own. And of course, the industry requirement is something. Be ethical. I won't say he always. You will have to follow each and every tick mark of the boxes, but be ethical and know yourself.
So what do you think? Is there any shortcut to be a successful entrepreneur?
So I wouldn't say shortcuts, but definitely there might be a lot of productivity hacks, or there are. In fact, I would say getting a mentor is a shortcut in a way itself, because a good mentor will tell you, okay, ये मत कर, तेरे से नहीं होने वाला, your company is not in this position. So that itself becomes a good amount of hack. So, but I would prefer to assume there are no shortcuts, and if it happens, I'm blessed enough. Okay, I will keep on learning, I will keep on experimenting, I will keep on growing. So, and there is a beautiful quote which I love: the harder I work, luckier I get. So this is something like I was mentioning of a video which crossed 3 million views. I personally feel we haven't put that amount of effort in that video to get 3 million views. But there are so many videos which we have poured literally our heart out and put so much effort and money, and that is just lying there with like 500, 600 views. So at the end, if you are in the game enough, trust me, nature is going to balance things out. And sometimes when you don't deserve, you might get a shortcut success. And sometimes if you're deserving, still you won't get it. The only thing is, are you a long-term player? When everyone is thinking about 2020, are you ready to play for 2040? So it all depends out there.
So is there any checklist? Do you follow any do's and don'ts in your life?
In life or in work?
Basically.
Sorry?
In your profession?
So one of the checklists, I won't say checklist, but one of the boxes which I mentally always have is, I want to be, first of all, dealing with ethical people. Okay. I don't, even if you are the talented person, even have more following, more numbers, more fame, if I feel you're not ethical, I of course I'm not going to go behind your back and tell 20 different people you're not ethical, but I would like to stay away from you. Okay, because at the end I don't want to compromise my principles. I'm okay to grow slow if that needed. So first is, if I find somewhere the person is not being ethical, person is saying committing something and not doing it and not backing up why he or she was not able to do it, I will be a little bit skeptic about working with that person. And same goes with my friends and all those things also. If I feel person is not being ethical, that's the first checklist what I always like to follow. Skill set wise, the person can be good, bad, the person can be trained and made good, better. But I personally think ethics is something either you have it or you don't have it. Might be my mistake also, I might be too much, but I try to stay away from that. Second, I like to work with people who have a bigger vision in mind, okay, who have to do something bigger, something great, because that is what I want to be also. So this is not something that I don't want to be with people who live an ordinary life, or you want to, I have so many friends and whatever it is. It's not that I don't I don't like them. It's just I want to become like them. So that is why I will love to spend more time with those kind of people who have that vision, who have that mindset. It's not about this are good and this are bad. No, It's only ethic. I try to become a judge and good or bad. But apart from that, um, this is a checklist. If I'm doing a fitness, one of my mentor who is mentoring me, and luckily I worked in his training company also. He is such an avid fitness that he has done Ironman thrice. For him, like 10 kilometers run is a warm up. So I like to spend time with him, trying to show, okay, what did I work out? So in that way, I would always uh, try to do that. And at the end, because of our journey, what we have selected, I will always prefer to be flexible. If Gaurav is someone who likes to talk a lot, then I'm a very good listener with Gaurav. And if there is a person who likes to listen a lot, then I'm going to share my insight and what the person thinks. So that is something which I personally try to see what other person is behaving, how the other person is behaving, and try to help that person to become the best version of themselves.
So what advice would you like to give to new entrepreneurs?
One of the major, like I'm mentioning, yes, you should have goals with timelines, but don't let that timeline become a restriction itself. The timeline can be restrictions. I would prefer from a customer standpoint, if no one is buying, okay, get the sign, change your product, change your service. Okay. But you decided that you're going to do this, and then you say it will take more time, so I'm not going to do this. Then I would ask you to reflect what you actually love. You did not love it in the first place. That's completely fine. Your model, your vision, everything will get changed with time till the point you hit that point where you can proudly say this line that well, that every man or every person is born twice, one when he's actually born, and second when he realizes why he's born. So when you hit that vision, you will realize, okay, this is what I want to do, and then play a long-term game. Then don't get desperate out here. Don't say, okay, my friend is earning so much, he's just this age. Of course, we should get married at this age. Of course, my family is pressurizing me. No, if you find that vision, if you find that dream goal, then year should not matter, because I'm sure you also have met a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, 60s who just love what they do. And when they are doing it, you don't even feel that those guys are like 40, 50, or 60. And the same time, you have met people who are 25, 30, or 35 who don't love it. And when you sit with them, you're like, are you 40 or are you 45 plus? So uh, this is something what I would always recommend. First, don't settle on what you love. I guess Steve Jobs said it best, like, if today is going to be the last day of my life, will I do what I'm doing today? So that might be extreme, but to a certain point, always have this check. And there might be times, sometimes you might be do it. There is also a quote, is like, one for the kitchen, one for the soul. So even though our company is like, we are getting good reach but not monetary benefit, we'll do a lot of video projects which will not do 6 months or a year down the line. And I tell my team, that's pretty okay. We do it in right now. Money is the issue. We'll get the money from there and we'll put it where we are doing it. So it all depends. Again, I'm saying, because I love my vision, I know I can do it 20, 30, 40 years of my life. I'm pretty much okay even if I get a big viral hit if I'm at age of 40. Okay. So this is something, find your vision and then play for 2040 and don't play for 2020.
So tell us about your startup and where do you see yourself post 10 years from now?
10 years from now. Okay. So LearnOr is the name of the company. LearnOr, as I was mentioning, OR stands for learning more. Who we are a modern day Panchatantra, okay, where we create engaging stories with a model. Okay, why do we call ourselves modern day? Because not just because we take bold topics, we also take today's context into it. So give you stories with a model so that you don't learn it, you don't get bored, because it's an educational video, it's a very entertaining video. And our standards are that we'll keep on increasing from a video production quality also. A lot of educational will be, okay, our priority is education. No, my priority is both a good model with a very good level of video production quality. And today I see we are like in between. You'll see our videos, you will definitely not call us beginners, but probably you will not even call us experts. We are somewhere in the middle. 10 years down the line, where I exactly want to be is we should be in a long form content where we create movies every month, okay, where we give somewhere, if you see example of Tare Zameen Pe or you see Three Idiots, a lot of movies these days what Aishu and Kurana does, It's more about what do you say, movies with a model. So it's TV series and movies will be a big goal. And 10 years, I want. So today, many people are like, it's so good that we create one short film every 1 or 2 months. And I'm saying we do it every week. Okay, you give me just 2 or 3 team members, I will do it 2 short films in a week. So I want to work on the quality as well as quantity, because we have been blessed enough to be in world where we can target or make an impact with a specified niche also. Your Netflix home and my Netflix home will look totally different. Gone are those days ki the Friday movie which is released, we both have to watch the same. Now everything is customized. The videos that on your YouTube page will be like 360 degree different than what mine might be. And so the good thing is we have audience for everything. But when you have bold vision, you also end up have to creating videos or content for everyone. So that is what I always say: a movie a month, and we'll still continue doing short films. Short film is something what I love, and it is a good test market for a lot of us also in future for hiring people. If they do good in short film, then we put them to movies. So yeah, it's a very hardcore video production quality which you will see, and people might be shocked to realize that it was a learning company when it started.
The last one line that defines you.
One line that defines me. Okay, that's not last one. People spend their entire life to get to who am I. So one line that defines me, I will try to go in a positive way out here. I usually say I never give up. But somewhere people told me don't use negative stuff. That means the problems will keep on coming. Um, One line that defines me, that I'm flexible enough. Okay, I'm very flexible. If my company requires to me to sweep the floor, I will do it. If my company requires not to do anything, just to sit and observe, I will do it. So flexibility is my number one key out here. And one more thing, one line that defines you, I will be like, I'm a typical textbook example of workaholic, boring person. And I have accepted it. Initially, I was trying to run away and trying to say I'm a cool entrepreneur. I have accepted it. I love my work. I know nothing apart from my work. Might be a little bit of cricket out here, but I know nothing apart from that. Work, me. At the end of the day, I might watch a movie or I will sleep. That's my biggest, like, people are like, what do you do on your dream vacation? I will like, probably I will be sleeping, reading, or watching movies. I don't even need to go out of my bedroom for my dream vacation. So I have accepted it. I'm the boring person. So again, to in one word, in one sentence, boring, flexible, workaholic. Yeah.
So it's like there are 3 words: boring, flexible, workaholic. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was very nice talking to you. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for
Same here.
Thank you very much.
Same here. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.